Okay, so we're looking at the full art basic lands for Outlaws of Thunder Junction. First impressions.
They don't. They're like metaphorical. They don't represent physical real spaces. At least not all of them do. Like especially the mountain, which is just mountains suspended in the air, which doesn't seem to be a regular feature of this plane.
Yeah. So these are interesting. For the most part, each of them seems to depict the mana symbol as we normally see it.
I just spotted the green one. I was like, why does that one not have it?
I've been trying to find the one in the green one. I can't actually see it, so if you can point it out. Oh, I see it. Okay, yeah. I actually really love that now.
Yeah,
I was leading up to saying like I can't find it in the forest, but
and these are all by the same artist.
Okay, wonderful.
Salvatore Z. Yazel? It's a little small here on the screen. Yazi. Salvatore Z. Yazi. I am probably butchering that. I am sorry.
So yeah, these are really interesting in that each of them shows some kind of landscape. They're a little bit surreal, and they have all incorporated the mana symbol as we see it depicted on a Magic card. So in the plains, you have this kind of beautiful desert landscape, and then up in the clouds, there's this very distinct depiction of the sun that we see representing plains within the game. Same thing for the island. Beautiful, picturesque waterfalls, lagoon, and then here is this water droplet shaped exactly like the blue mana symbol.
Yeah.
Right, dead, and they're all dead center, which is possibly why the forest was so hard for me to see, because that one is actually, now that you pointed it out, a really interesting use of negative space.
Yeah.
I was looking for something else in that one,
it's
and
the only
I
one
did
that
not
does that.
see it. Yeah, that one is a little bit unique.
Sneaky.
It's very sneaky, because I kept getting hung up on the cactuses and thinking, well, this is cool.
But it's not.
I like it, but it doesn't fit the pattern of the other ones.
Yeah.
Except secretly it does. So yeah, I really like this use of the symbols that we know, that are recognizable. I think one of the criticisms that I've had, and that some other people have had for some of the full art lands in recent sets, has been that they're not always, at a glance, easy to tell what they are.
You mean that they're lands, or which color?
What color they're representing.
Okay.
There's some more egregious than others. The one that stands out to me the most is actually one of my favorite lands, so I kind of have mixed feelings about this.
Yeah.
But the Lantern full art from Neon Kamigawa,
that
you know where I'm going with this.
Yeah, because it has that red glow.
Because it has this very bright red central glow of the lantern, but it's a swamp.
Yeah. And most of the card's black, but your eye is drawn to the red part. So yeah,
that's what you see.
I absolutely get that.
So there's been a few things like that. I really like that these do a great job of sticking with the expected color scheme.
Yeah.
They're still visually very appealing, and they use the symbol that we know and are familiar with to represent what this land creates.
Yeah.
I think the mountain is, like you said, though, kind of the standout for me in that it feels the most surreal.
Yeah. Like, there is one instance in the story of a big old floating rock in the sky, and that's the vault. But it's unique. It's not like in Ravnica where you see the sort of Sarah...
Yeah, like this isn't a thing.
They have all those little floating isles. That's not a thing that happens on this plane, except... So, yeah, it's a metaphor.
Yeah. And I like that. I think this is a fun way to
honestly, sort of, the clouds don't arrange themselves like that either.
Yeah.
So this is all...
Most of the time, we don't have perfectly little skull-shaped puddles to represent the swamp, but I like it.
Most of these really convey desert, Wild West plain pretty well. The swamp less so, but like, how do you display a marshland in a swamp? It doesn't make sense. So
I like how they did that here, where it looks like Like, this looks like soil that has been rained on and, like, maybe water has collected here, but it's not a place that remains...
It looks brackish.
Yeah, like, it doesn't feel like it has to be, like, a real swampy area. Like, maybe it's swampy sometimes, but it's not an everyday occurrence.
Yeah. I think that's just a limitation of the... Well, I mean, I say that, but, like, the island...
Yeah. I mean, the island strikes me as, like, this is some kind of a little oasis.
Yeah, and it really conveys that well, but
works.
It's clearly an oasis within a desert... like place.
And I think they do that well with the colors and the type of rock formations we can see.
Yeah, it has that Arizona, New Mexico.
Yes, it has
Grand Canyon.
that kind of vibe to it.
Yeah.
The swamp, I like how we can kind of see cracks in the soil. That gives me that kind of sense that, like, this is generally a dry place that has maybe been rained on.
So do you mean sort of like at the lower right of, like,
yeah,
the
so
teeth,
we kind of have this long...
kind
bisecting line that kind of gives me the sense of, like, oh, this is a spot where...
It's kind of where the water is formed a rivulet, but it formed a rivulet because there was a crack there.
There was a crack there.
That makes sense. Yeah, okay.
We have some little green plants kind of coming up around here, so, like, that kind of, again, gives you the sense of, like...
From card size, those look like mold or something to me.
They do a little
but
bit,
now that I'm looking here, they look more like succulents, which are much more fitting for a desert.
Yeah, when you look at them closer, they do. But yeah, at card size, it does kind of read more like mold or fungus or something.
Yeah. I can't really, complain about this because it's really hard to... How does a desert contain a swamp?
Yeah, I like seeing how different artists approach these things when you have a plane that clearly has a particular biome. Like, Thunder Junction is a Wild West desert theme. We don't have a lot of variety in the sense of how we're going to display... I mean, sure, the plains was probably the easiest one to come up with. That would probably just... mountain, probably not that hard to figure out. Swamp, I would guess, was the hardest one to come up with if I was the one having to create these. But yeah, I really like these. I think they're good representations of the feeling of the plane. Artistically, I like them. I could see myself using these in a deck if I had a Thunder Junction theme going on. I would not feel like these were out of place or didn't match well with the overall aesthetic, which is usually my beef with full art lands, is when I don't feel like they match the aesthetic of the plane.
These do. I don't love them. They're not my favorite full art lands, but this is far from my favorite aesthetic for a set. Like, we're in Texas.
Yeah.
I associate cowboy stuff with bullies from growing up. That's just like...
We haven't had great experiences with people who are really into the Texas aesthetic.
And it's also just, it's always been here my entire life. This is not novel to me.
It's not novel for us. I mean, my family, like, is from far, far out west Texas. So, like, every year we would take 13-hour drives through the desert. This is not a novel experience to think about. Like, I feel like I've been in some of these tumbleweed towns.
Yeah, but that said, this is by far the most hyped I've been about anything cowboyish since I was, like, in 6th grade and went to a rodeo once and had a good time.
I do want to say that, is, like, initially I think we were both on the same page when we heard about the flavor of this set. We were like, oh, cool, I guess. Yeah. Really didn't have any excitement about it. And then I've actually come to really enjoy this set, and I've gotten very hype about it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it'll ever match my hype for, like, Bloomborough levels.
Sure.
But, like, I will always have my own identity. But Wizards has done an astounding job of making me care about this.
Because, I was, like, as far as recent memory sets, like, I wasn't that excited about New Capenna. For me, that was kind of a, like...
I was super skeptical because it just felt like breaking away too much from fantasy. But when they got there, I really liked.
See, that one for me was, I didn't hate it, but it was not a set that I was really excited about. We got there, I was like, this is fine. I was kind of expecting that for this set, and I've had sort of the opposite experience where I initially went in thinking like, this is going to be, it's fine, cowboys, whatever.
There's a lot about this that I really feel is forced and dumb. Like, I mean, Rakdos is like playing the comic relief in the stories. Some of it is, I'm just kind of enjoying it as a what-if scenario. Even though it is happening canonically, it's just a different vibe. It's kind of a break from the serious tone, and it's...
I'm just kind of telling myself a lot of these characters are on vacation.
Yeah.
You know?
Or like after a lot of animes, there's the chibi
this is like
version.
This is the filler episode that happens between the next, like, the big arc of the anime. There's just like a 3-episode filler arc where we get some dumb, goofy hijinks.
Yeah.
And then we go back to the main story, and I'm fine with that.
This is a pretty good place to do
that.
that.
I'm okay with that. Okay, so when I saw this initially, I was like, what the is this? We're going to the Wild West now?
Oh
God. I was like, you guys... Come on, Wizards.
Yeah.